Hello everybody out there on YouTube today. It is I, the Marx Engineer, and today I will be bringing you back through my collection of 700 engines. So as of course the first 700 type engine that I had originally received was number 719, as I have given it that number, and I received it at a train show from one of my good friends who sells Marx train sets as well as other types of train sets. Bob, I believe is his name. Or is it Joe? I keep on forgetting. But anyway, here it is right here. Let me just undo this really quick and just let you get it moving forward. Tender came off. So anyway, as you can see, it has been somewhat repainted, mainly just the cab, and just highlighting of certain details and also giving it a boiler band. There is supposed to be one right there, but I couldn't paint it because it's too close to the cab. As of course you got the Illinois Central Railroad logo right there. Of course you got the steam pipe, and the firebox is painted in gunmetal gray, so that way it kind of gives like a slight metallic look to it, just to offset it. And of course here's the cowcatcher. Now the cowcatcher on this engine was a bit broken on both sides, so it has a fairly small one. Also that red dot. Yeah, other side pretty similar, albeit some of the paint is scratching off, but that's just because that's also where a key can go. And when you put a key in, if I could get it in really quick, like that, sometimes it has a tendency to want to scratch the paint, so that happens. And it rolls fairly well. And the only thing is that this engine, for some reason, is slightly lighter than the others, and I have no idea on why, because it doesn't have as much tractive effort, even when I have given it the electrical tape tire. I learned that trick from Ben's Trains. By putting electrical tape on the wheel, it gives it some adhesion to the track. So yeah. Also, here's the tender for it. Pretty simple. There we go, my tablet just does not want to focus today for some reason. Wait a minute. There we go. So as we can see, nice dark green paint in this area with a gold trim. And of course the rest of the tender is red. Same thing on the other side, nothing really special in there. I actually took apart the tender, and I found that this piece going all the way at top is actually one continuous piece. I thought it was that it was stuck right here, and that this block and this block were just simply separate, but no, they're actually one big piece. So yeah, there's number 719. And now on to the second engine, 3177. And this one I got offline, off eBay specifically. And I've given it a blue front, like so, similar to the 719. It's got blue in the areas where red would be. It still has its red cab. Originally, that engine just had only a red cab for color. Again, gunmetal gray was used right here on the firebox to give the, and also the steam pipe right there. Illinois Central right there, painted bell, painted number board and everything. It also moves, but it actually has very big traction tires on it, so it kind of sticks up like that when it runs. And of course here's the tender, 3177. It came like that. This was not the original sticker on it. Originally it had, I believe it would have said either Santa Fe or New York Central on the side, because there is, because it has riveting on the tender, and the riveting stops in certain spots, making a line, so I assume that this was redone and repainted, because this is not the original paint either. It's kind of got this weird bed liner finish to it for some reason. But anyway, there's paint right there, and on the back you got this bar for the pin couplers, and then you've got the knuckle coupler right there. Of course, this can just flip up and be like that, or you can flip down like that. One thing about these engines that you got to be careful about is that their cylinders are extremely fragile. Like, these things snap very easily. In fact, I had to re-glue this one like, I don't know, 4 times. The other side hasn't given way yet, but it has. And also the firebox has a tendency to break, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, a pretty good model. And now this one I got in a set from another guy who sells Marx. I forgot what his name was, but he's the one who also gave me the engine that would become my Union Pacific number 18 engine, if you've seen that video. And yeah, there it is. Here's the engine. This was, I got this in a set as well. There's actually a video review of that set before I modified the engine. Basically what it is, I cut off the cab, put it right there, and gave it a metal firebox. Painted that in gunmetal gray because it actually matches the whole of the engine, and I did some more outlining on it. Although I gave it a black steam pipe on this one to make it stand out, but it kind of blends in. And it works. It still has the ability to be wound up, albeit you have to kind of either hold the wheel or hold it down, or you have to go in there with a special little thing and pull the little lever back and forth, which I will show you is still in there. If you can see it, that is. It's very, very tricky to see. You can see it just there, right there, that little thing poking out. That's the lever. It actually has a hole drilled through it, so that way you can actually put a little pin through it and pull it back and forth to lock it or unlock it. But I always leave it in the unlocked position. I was thinking about adding some dummy wheels in the back and in the front to give the illusion that it's, you know, a bigger, heftier engine. And also, this engine is actually a whole lot heavier than the other ones, because this one has an added weight put inside it, somewhere that goes over the top of the boiler, and also the firebox here adds a lot of back weight, but sadly it doesn't put a lot of weight on the drivers, it just puts a lot of weight on the rear set of wheels, which are freewheelers. They aren't motorized, but I could potentially just drill a little hole there, and I could take this side rod and pin it in like that, so that way both wheels are powered from the same rod mechanically. A lot of guys in the Marx community have done that, but I just don't know. Here's its tender. It's a New York Central tender with the Marx logo still on there. Just a regular Marx tender, nothing really to be proud of there. Alrighty, now on to this one. This one I actually got while I was at my train club. As you all know, I'm part of the Lone Star High Railers and all that sort of stuff. And after we had a group meeting one day, what happened was there was this really old gentleman who came by with his wife and all that sort of stuff, and they literally went to the outside steps of the place and were like, hey, we've got this stuff, take a look at it. And I had just walked out of the layout, and I saw them looking through it, and I saw this engine, along with a Lehigh Valley car, which was really beat up. In fact, there is a video on this which shows the first part of it, of me going to redo it. Now, a lot of pieces on this engine were broken off. For instance, the funnel was gone. A good chunk of the cab was actually broken. Not broken off, but just cracked. And also down here, I had to use like 3 layers of super glue just to get the firebox back in place. And the original motor that was in this I had to replace because that was just seized up and it just would not work. And I gave it a different front because the cowcatcher was just deplorable. I just pretty much snapped the rest of it off and glued this on. I gave it a wooden beam and then I glued buffers onto it, which are actually repainted thumbtacks. They are pretty... I want to say they're probably one of the best things if you want some cheap scale buffers, because with O-scale you have a variety of sizes to choose from. So yeah, you've got that, and also here's its tender. And it's made from a regular Marx plastic tender. Here's what a regular Marx plastic tender looks like. You can see some of the similarities. But this entire section right here was cut completely. And it's been filled, actually, with a card that I just bent at like a half angle. I'm still trying to find some wood logs to put in there, you know, that look good, you know, that don't look crummy. And as for the piece that I had cut off of the tender, here's that piece. Exact same thing right there. Actually, wait, there we go. Now it's facing the right way, because the steps have to be facing towards the back, and there's where the front would be. Right there. This entire piece was actually cut out. You can still kind of see what it would have looked like if it still had it on like that, but that just doesn't look right in my opinion for this engine, so I took that off. This engine also will have a cab interior. I put a piece of card over there so that way you don't see all the way through the boiler, because there is no back head on all these. You can see the motor right inside through the cab, but I'm actually going to paint my own little cab details in there. Also, we've got some buffers in the back. And I don't know why, but a lot of people are probably going to say, well, James, why'd you add buffers to it? Well, because I wanted to. Because it has that sort of continental feel. Also, I gave this engine the number 710, and this engine right here is supposed to say 720, but the two kind of got screwed up. But yeah, I actually really like the way this engine turned out, because it looks kind of like an old Western engine, because that's what I was going for, especially with the little designs on the tender and little gold lining. Now the rest of the cab was actually still intact. I just kind of went, you know what, since there's a big split going there and these areas are completely gone, I took off the little, what is it, the little window in there, because it's right, you can see it right there, it's got the little frames. I took those out and I basically broke this entire section off, and then I tried sanding it and cutting it to the correct length that I wanted it to, but in some cases I had to actually take another strip of card and glue that on so that way it would actually look right. But yeah, there we go, Marx 700s update video. I might make a video of some of these guys running in the future. I just don't know when. So yeah, see you guys later.